Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another CYPRX video banger. In today's video, we're going to be discussing and talking about XLR and its native digital asset. Why I am so bullish and fixated on accumulating more while it is still in a discounted area, as we prepare for the next massive bull market cycle. In today's video breakdown, we're going to be sharing some video clips, some panel discussions, and reading some documentation to you guys via some ongoing developments that are happening behind the scenes, showing you all why I am so bullish. None of this is financial advice. As always, really do appreciate you guys for returning. Do us a favor, if you enjoy these deep dives, these deep research perspectives, then smash that thumbs up button and make sure that you are subscribed to the platform. So maybe it is your first time here at CYPRX, or maybe it's your first time, maybe you're already a subscriber of CYPRX, but it's your first time hearing us talk about the digital asset XLR, or AXL as the ticker symbol. All right. Well, I just want to break this down for you guys. We're going to jump into deep research and I'm going to show you guys why I am so bullish. Again, none of this is financial advice. Always do your own personal research, but I'm going to show you things that the mainstream is never going to piece together for you guys. So make sure that you stick around for the entirety of this video breakdown, as we are going to get pretty lengthy in this one with playing video clips and reading through documentation. We're going to be listening to some perspectives from major market participants, including Ripple, individuals from MasterCard, JP Morgan, and XLR. So again, tap into this one. This one's going to be monumental. But I just wanted to clear the air because I got a lot of DMs after I posted this, because I don't talk too much about what is all in my portfolio. And XLR, the native digital asset AXL, is in my long-term bag portfolio. I said to you guys on the X space just a couple of days ago, XLR, anything below 60 cents equals an opportunity. Now, I posted this to you guys when XLR was trading at about 57 to 58 cents. It is currently above that 60-cent threshold, roughly around 63 cents, give or take, off the top of my head, not looking at the charts right now. And people have been asking me if I'm still dollar cost averaging in. The answer is yes. As long as price is below roughly around 70 to 75 cents, which is about anywhere between 70 to 75% discounted from its all-time high at roughly around $2 and some 70 odd cents, I will still be dollar cost averaging into this project. And in today's video breakdown, you are going to see why this is going to be one of those bullish long-term holds in my portfolio for 2030 and beyond, because they are a massive infrastructure provider and they are embedded deeply with the whole entire financial landscape of bringing financial institutions onto this space. All right. So first off, right off the bat, we're going to be talking about bridging solutions and how XLR has been mentioned multiple times, not only in proof of concepts, but in documentation and mentions on panel discussions from major market participants. For example, individual representatives from Ripple mentioning that XLR is a bridging solution. So financial institutions, we know, need cross-chain connectivity or a bridging solution for several key reasons. For example, they need access to more assets. They need improved liquidity. They need efficiency in transactions, innovation and collaboration, risk mitigation, so on and so forth. And these bridging solutions, these cross-chain connectivity solutions, these interoperable solutions like XLR provide exactly that. All right. So we're going to get into this. Again, if you're new here, smash the thumbs up button and subscribe. This one's going to be a deep one. So XLR delivers interoperable cross-chain infrastructure connecting over 50 plus blockchains, and now is an emerging leader in connecting the worlds of centralized finance and decentralized finance. All right. We're going to come back to this piece. This is a fundamental piece from back a couple of years ago, I believe 2022. Oh, excuse me, 2023 November. But we're going to full circle back to this because this reads JP Morgan and Apollo deliver Project Guardian with help from XLR and others. Okay, this is massive. So first, let's jump in. We're going to play a video clip from an individual representative at UBS. UBS, keep in mind, we know is a partner or an integral partner or connected with Deutsche Bank. All right, and you're going to listen to her say that here, but listen to what this representative from this large organization says about how these major organizations, in order for them to onboard into this space, they need cross-chain connectivity. They need the ability, just I don't want to butcher this, just listen to what she has to say. And this is going to fall perfectly in line with something that Jazzy Cooper, head of DeFi products at Ripple, mentions, how XLR is the bridging solution and how they were chosen. She gets into that. We're going to get into that video breakdown. They were chosen as the bridging solution and why. All right. This is monumental. And this is going to just put pieces of the pie together that, again, the mainstream is never going to cover for you guys. So take a second and let's listen to this, and then we're going to roll right over into Jazzy Cooper mentioning on stage just a couple of months ago how, again, she mentions bridging solution. So cross-chain connectivity, interoperability, bridging solution. Keep those vocabulary terms in mind as we sift through these two videos real fast.
Important to bear in mind, right? When we send money within the same bank, UBS client to UBS client, no matter within the same jurisdiction or cross-border, it is not difficult. It can be very fast. And the second, or we call it a semi-cross network complexity, is when UBS clients need to send money to, let's say, Deutsche Bank clients. In this case, Deutsche Bank and UBS, we could have a traditional correspondent relationship. If that is the case, the money is still easy because Deutsche Bank de facto is a UBS client if they use us as their correspondent bank. So that is not too difficult either. The most difficult part is when UBS and the other bank have zero correspondent relationship. And this is the most tricky part. And to make this happen, if we have the mercy of digital currency, we really need a central party to play this orchestrator. So this could be the unified ledger promoted by Project Agora, or it could be a third party or private sector middleman that can guarantee the settlement, the clearing of digital currency in both worlds.
Right. So she mentions a private sector middleman in order to obviously, of course, connect these major financial institutions. And you guys heard what she said. Okay. Now let's roll into what Jazzy Cooper says here in this video breakdown. Take a second and listen how this correlates perfectly.
Down those walls, disintermediate and decentralize the financial system and allow for value to flow smoothly throughout the network. And so while that problem was initially solved with the introduction of chains like Bitcoin and the XRP ledger, as time went on and the number of blockchains continued to grow, and you now have L1s, L2s, Ethereum came on the scene and it just continues to proliferate. It's almost as if we came almost full circle, and that now we have new walls and new silos where liquidity gets trapped on each of these individual blockchains. So interoperability and infrastructure like that of Axelar and Layer 0 is a great solution to that problem. And it's finally going to allow for the transfer of value, so tokens moving between these individual chains that all have their unique advantages and reason for attracting users, as well as information through new technologies and advancements like general message passing. So I think there are kind of two clear benefits in terms of how this interoperability will unlock additional liquidity. And the first is market efficiency. So now that value can seamlessly flow between chains, you no longer are going to have the issue where a particular user wants, say, USDC, for example, but that token is not issued on a particular chain. USDC can be brought over by a bridge, for example, and now there's...
Right, so she mentioned interoperability. She mentioned how she talked about USDC as an example, cross-chain connectivity, and how that digital asset can be moved over by a bridge. She specifically mentioned a bridge, and that's exactly what the UBS representative was talking about. She utilized an example through Deutsche Bank being connected with another client and how there needs to be cross-chain connectivity. And she mentioned a third party and how it could be a private sector.
This could be the unified ledger promoted by Project Agora, or it could be a third party or private sector middleman that can guarantee the settlement, the clearing of digital currency in both worlds.
Okay, so keep in mind, UBS has clients, Deutsche Bank, right? She mentioned that. I know you guys heard it. Now, let me play a video clip after Jazzy Cooper having mentioning on stage that a bridging solution can handle this. And she mentioned XLR as an infrastructure provider.
Interoperability and infrastructure like that of Axelar and Layer 0 is a great solution to that problem. And
this is monumental because this video breakdown here that was uploaded just a month ago only has 1,000 views, confirms that XLR was chosen via Ripple as the bridging solution. Listen to what they say here.
And James, can you shed light a little bit about, what was your vision for institutional DeFi with XLR and the roadmap ahead?
Yeah, I think, similar guiding principles that what we want to bring is security and distribution, right? Those are like the two key values that we bring to the institutional space. And the latter being programmability as well, that there are institutional use cases that care about different things, whether it's preserving privacy, whether it's being able to preserve KYB or KYC that has taken place on a specific chain. And the fact that Axelar operates this layer 1 chain gives us this flexibility of programmability when it comes to bridging and the distribution of these assets. And so these are attractive characteristics that have led us to a good positioning when talking to institutions.
What did he say? He mentions bridging, and he mentions how they're talking to financial institutions, right?
And gives us this flexibility of programmability when it comes to bridging and the distribution of these assets. And so these are attractive characteristics that have led us to a good positioning when talking to institutions that have been timid previously about onboarding and tokenizing assets and then using a quote unquote bridge, right, to distribute those.
Right. So moving on, you all heard him mention bridging. Okay. This goes hand in hand with what Jazzy Cooper said on stage, with what the UBS representative said on stage. And again, stick around for the entirety of this video breakdown. It is going to continue to get juicier and juicier. So now let's go into what Jazzy Cooper says here. She confirms here why XLR was chosen as this bridging solution, and she goes off on a tangent on why exactly XLR was chosen. So let's go ahead and let's listen to what she has to say.
You were mentioning using XLR. So I want to know more about, there's dozens of different bridges, interoperability protocols on the market today. And I wanted to know, what was your, deciding factors that ultimately led you to the choice of going with XLR?
Yeah, good question. I'd say there's 3 main pieces, which are security, connectivity, and innovation. So the first one, security, I mentioned that before.
Okay, I don't want to beat a dead horse. She goes on a tangent on those 3 particular topics, explaining each one in detail. But she specifically says, answering this dude Rudy's question from Multi-Chain Nation, why did you choose XLR as this bridging solution? And then she goes off on a tangent and explains why. All right, so I just wanted to piece together for you guys that, again, XLR is providing the solution for this cross-chain connectivity issue between major financial institutions. Okay, let's go into detail a little bit further. Keep in mind that UBS representative mentioned Deutsche Bank.
Because Deutsche Bank de facto is a UBS client if they use a...
Well, would you look at this? Here is institutional interoperability PDF produced by XLR and Metrica, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, in collaboration with insights from Citi, Deutsche Bank, MasterCard, Northern Trust, and Centrifuge. We're going to come back to MasterCard towards the end of this as we head into this whole public versus private blockchain narrative, okay? Keeping in mind some things that major representatives have said on stage, for example, representatives from JP Morgan. We'll get into that in just one second, but we're going to just dive into this fundamental PDF, because in this PDF here, typing this in the chat PDF, again, this is a phenomenal artificial intelligence tool. You can ask it any question. Instead of reading through the entire document, you can ask it questions about these documents. And here I said, how does this document reference XLR as a bridge solution? The document references XLR in the context of providing a technological stack optimized for adaptability, where developers can build applications based on specific message semantics that remain constant. It suggests that while the validation and transport layers can be adapted as needed, XLR plays a role in facilitating interoperability between different blockchain networks. The document also mentions XLR as a bridging mechanism, primarily in the context of its ability to facilitate interoperability between the different blockchain networks. It highlights that XLR provides a network of high-quality nodes that can support the scalability and adaptability required for cross-chain network communication. What did the lady from UBS mention that these financial institutions need? They need cross-chain connectivity.
Or it could be a third party or private sector middleman that can guarantee the settlement, the clearing of digital currency in both worlds. But
XLR is positioned as a solution that can help address the fragmentation of liquidity and the challenges posed by the proliferation of different blockchain platforms by enabling seamless value and data flow between these networks. That's exactly what the UBS lady said. That's exactly what Jazzy Cooper mentioned financial institutions need, in that they're going to face this problem in a multi-chain environment. Okay, so keep all of that in mind as we go on. I just wanted to show you guys again reasons why I'm so bullish on the digital asset XLR. Okay, moving on, let's head over to the X space. Jazzy Cooper actually just yesterday, as of time of recording this video, is the 4th of October. I don't know when I'm going to drop it, but just yesterday on the 3rd, Jazzy Cooper said, incredibly excited for XLR's MDS. This will bring next level. Look at this right here. I want to zoom in. Next level utility to the blockchain. What does that mean, right? Okay, that's coming directly from a Ripple representative talking about XLR. Moving on here, Sergey from XLR said, after more than a year of deep development, the XLR v2 codename Mobius Development Stack, or MDS, is going live on mainnet. It will be a phased rollout, but the core components of XLR VM amplifier and its IT are already live on mainnet. Main exciting integrations with Ripple, Bitcoin, Stellar, Soy Network, Hedera, Stacks, and many others will go live. The network offers fully permissionless plug and play. Keep that in mind, plug and play. That's going to go hand in hand with this drag and drop customizable integration framework amplifier. Okay. This is so freaking monumental that this is happening. You guys pay attention to detail, because we're going to get into a video clip of an individual representative from JP Morgan. And I'm going to show you all how XLR worked with JP Morgan in the past. I'm going to actually highlight this plug and play customizable integration framework. We got to come back to that one. This is going to be so monumental. If you stick around for the entirety of this video, you're going to be just as bullish as I am on XLR. So moving on, Soy also posted this, learn more about XLR MDS coming soon to Soy that will significantly improve cross-chain interoperability. Last but not least, we have this document right here, this docs from XLR and their website. What is Mobius Development Stack? So let's read into this before we get into some more video clips. XLR MDS is a suite of open tools and protocols that unlock an entirely new omni-chain design space. MDS pioneers a new interoperability standard, leveraging enhanced AXL token utility, that's the native digital asset, to power infinite security and scalability across the Web3 ecosystem. For the first time, I repeat, it says, for the first time, applications can connect easily to users and logic anywhere on the internet, maintaining verified and open properties end to end. With XLR MDS, the possibilities to extend far beyond simple bridges or oracles.
Interoperability and infrastructure like that of XLR and Layer 0 is a great solution to that problem. And it's finally going to allow for the transfer of value, so tokens moving between these individual chains that all have their unique advantages and reason for attracting users. USDC can be brought over by a bridge, for example, and now there's greater access to a particular token.
A user can send a message on Telegram that rebalances a vault on Soy, which in turn interacts with DeFi protocols over on Arbitrum and financial institutions' private blockchains. This level of integration and interoperability opens up a new world of possibilities for decentralized applications, and it goes into a little bit more detail, but I don't want to bore you guys to death. This is a massive development in the space. This level of interoperability that the XLR gives and provides, it's happening for the first time. This is monumental. That is why, again, I'm so bullish on this project. And you guys heard from large financial players like UBS mentioning that they need this, mentioning that, again, from Jazzy Cooper mentioned that XLR was chosen to provide this layer of infrastructure for these financial institutions. I mean, how could you be dodging this project right now after what it is that I just showed you guys? Again, not financial advice, but take this video and allow it to lead you to more research. Okay, now let's get into this. This is where this individual, James, goes on to talk about how we are on the cusp of this all taking place. And I'm going to play another video breakdown back to back. I've been mentioning institutional involvement and an announcement coming from JP Morgan in November of this year in collaboration with XLR. So let's listen to what he says here.
James, how did it feel when Ripple and RippleX came to you saying, we want to work together, we want to build, and you also reaching out to them? Like, what was that vibe like, that feeling when you were XLR was a proper choice?
Yeah, so we were super excited about it. It felt like a natural fit given where both of us were looking to build. Been leading our chain integrations here for a couple years now. And I think there's a lot of like copy pasta, people love that term in this space, but right, it's like the next EVM chain. And what's the contribution really going to be to Web3 and broadly, or even to just the XLR ecosystem? But in this case, like with the RippleX team, there was something like inherently net new that we were going to be able to unlock by building this. And I think we all knew that it was going to be resource intensive, which is what naturally comes with, right? Like the return on investment is going to be high. You're going to have to invest a lot to see that through. But we're excited. And it took, honestly, I think probably over a year for us to eventually come to the place that we all had confidence in what the structure kind of looked like, the timeline for us to try to build against this. But as Jazzy now describes, like super succinctly, the interaction, right, between this EVM chain, the XRPL, how they're going to complement each other's limitations, and how Axelar is going to provide this distribution and access to smart contracts and liquidity on other chains. I think like that culminated at the end of many conversations around like what this could look like. And I think when you reach that point that you can say it that succinctly, then we all realize this was a great opportunity ahead of us and an investment worth making. And we are just now like on the precipice of kind of realizing that and shipping this. And I think it's just very exciting. And I'm interested.
So he said, we're on the precipice of all of this coming into fruition pretty much. And he mentioned that they all realize that this is a phenomenal opportunity and a great investment. I mean, come on now, people. Pay attention to detail. You got to listen to what these individuals are saying. Nobody's watching this type of content. This thing has 1,000 views. Okay, 1,000 views. There's over what, a couple million crypto users. Nobody's paying attention to this, right? Now, let's move on to the next portion of this video clip at 22 minutes, what they go on to say about their involvement with JP Morgan and an announcement that's coming in November.
Systems, and those teams have looked to Axelar as a distribution channel for them to be able to move more quickly than they could otherwise to get those assets in the hands of users and applications. And we think if you look at everything that Ripple is doing and where they're strategically positioned around institutions and enterprise, this is going to be a huge opportunity for us to tokenize new real world assets and then distribute them to the rest of those ecosystems that we're working with now. So that's certainly on the very like concrete, tangible side, looking at that. And we're very much interested to see where the larger financial institutional space moves, how quickly they're able to find comfort to really tokenize, certain portfolios of assets. But publicly, you can take a look, look at what JP Morgan did with Project Guardian and take a look at what Deutsche Bank is doing now with Project Guardian. And the work that they're doing with Axelar will be presented in November. So kind of wait for them to share a little bit more about what they're testing in this proof of concept. But this stuff is, we're on the precipice. Like we are finally getting the pieces of infrastructure in that we're really moving forward. And so I think that we're very excited about it.
Right. We're finally getting the pieces of infrastructure in to move forward. This is probably one of the most bullish videos that came out this year surrounding the XRPL and XLR. I mean, what a jam-packed video panel discussion. Okay, so moving on, getting into the public-private blockchain narrative. We have an individual, I believe this is the co-founder of XLR, interviewing here an individual representative from MasterCard. And listen to what he asks here. And this is going to go hand in hand with what I told you guys to remember. And then we're going to end the video clip here. Okay, XLR, now the network, offers a fully permissionless plug-and-play customizable integration framework. All right. This is extremely important considering something that a JP Morgan representative mentioned a couple months ago back on stage, that they are building this in such a way for them to right now test these proof of concepts on private blockchains, but then to migrate over into the public blockchain space when the regulatory environment is ready. And XLR is literally at the forefront of building all of this out for these financial institutions. Okay, so let's listen real quick to this MasterCard representative give his perspective on this public-private blockchain narrative.
And we have seen even like, BlackRock tokenizing some assets on public blockchains. I'm curious from your perspective, right? Not just from the MasterCard perspective, but also your partners, your clients, and your wider network. Do you see people mostly being interested on public or private blockchains?
So I think it's a combination of both. We do work very closely with financial institutions, with banks, who are probably one of the most regulated sectors. And it is totally understandable that the regulators impose quite high bars on those financial institutions in what infrastructures they can use to provide services to their customers. Now, I think what that has led to is in a lot of the regulated markets, a preference for, and certainly an initial deployment of private blockchain infrastructures rather than immediate deployment of public permissionless blockchains. To be frank, even MasterCard, right? When it comes to our multi-token network that you referred to, that as of today is not directly deployed on a public blockchain infrastructure. We intend for it to be interoperable with public blockchains, but for I guess both maturity reasons and the partners that we work with, there is more comfort in working with those private systems. But what I do see is an active discussion. I do see regulators who are at least willing to engage in the substance of the discussion now, whereas perhaps previously there was more of a genuine aversion to even talking about public blockchains. So it's definitely an area that we need to work with.
yeah, that's definitely the word.
Right. So that's the perspective from MasterCard on private public blockchains. Now listen to the JP Morgan representative. But before we listen to this JP Morgan representative talk about public private blockchains and how they're building out their system, let's go back full circle to the fundamental that I had at the beginning, right? Where JP Morgan and Apollo delivered Project Guardian, and you heard them all mention Project Guardian and how they're going to be making an announcement in November. That's in like 1 month. Okay. How they're working with JP Morgan. Well, if we go back, what XLR did with JP Morgan just a couple of months ago, this is back from November 2023. XLR collaborated with Onyx by JP Morgan and Apollo on a successful experiment showing smart contracts could be used to manage client portfolios at scale. And the proof of concept blockchain technology was used to execute trades and enable automated portfolio management of tokenized financial assets, aka real world assets. We showed that using smart contracts, tokenized assets, and programmability linked models, rebalancing portfolios can happen automatically and quickly, regardless of whether those portfolios included traditional assets, alternative assets, or use multiple ledgers, said Tyrone Lobin, keep that in mind, head of Onyx Digital Assets, in a tweet. There is much talk today about how tokenizing real-world assets across chains is creating fragmentation of liquidity. Keep in mind what XLR is solving, cross-chain connectivity and enhancing liquidity, ladies and gentlemen. JP Morgan's Onyx leveraged XLR's cross-chain technology to enable interoperability with a private and permissioned blockchain provided by Provenance Blockchain Zone. Leveraging XLR, Onyx by JP Morgan was able to introduce composability and programmability into their portfolio management, said Sergey, CEO of XLR. By automating modular rebalancing across larger numbers of portfolios, this is a powerful example of what is possible with blockchain interoperability. Now, let's roll this video, ending it here with what JP Morgan, Tyrone Lobin says. Take a second and listen.
Infrastructure from a red perspective, we're going to have to be in the sort of permission view until we can take some of the hybrid steps. And those hybrid steps look like some of the existing infrastructure that is coming out right now. Around, subnets or permission zones or these kinds of things. And from our perspective, the reason why we operate an EVM sidechain is so that everything that we build can actually be portable into a public environment. So all of our contracts are written in Solidity. We use ERC20s for the most part for our tokens. All of our developer tooling is, utilizes the public Ethereum ecosystem's tooling set. So actually moving into the public blockchain environment when we can will be much of a sort of a lift and drop scenario. So actually moving into the public blockchain environment when we can will be much of a sort of a lift and drop scenario.
Lift and drop scenario. What did I tell you guys to pay attention to? The network XLR offers a fully permissionless plug and play customizable integration framework amplifier. This is exactly what they're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. This is monumental. This is physical proof that these financial institutions are 110% coming. They're testing this out. They're building the infrastructure right now in order to integrate into the public environment. And this is going to create monumental price action in the near future. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and put a lid on when the date is going to be for this massive bull market blow-off cycle, but you need to understand that this is happening. It's going to take time. It's going to require patience. It's going to require research, strategic investments, and obviously, of course, risk tolerance, dealing with the price fluctuations and the volatility in the short term. But man, if you stuck around for the entirety of this video breakdown, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. This was a deep one, and I know that it took a little bit longer than the usual videos, but there was so much to unpack here. I needed to express to you guys why I am so bullish on the digital asset XLR. Now, with that being said, none of this is financial advice. Any money that I have invested into this digital asset ecosystem, I am 110% willing to lose. This is not a guaranteed investment, but through my research, I have a firm belief that XLR is going to be a top performing asset when these financial institutions, I did not say the next bull market cycle, I said when these financial institutions finally are comfortable in order to onboard into this space on a massive scale. With that being said, smash that thumbs up button. Again, subscribe to the platform if you're not already, and I will see you all in the next video breakdown.